We were in the middle of shooting a variety show when, for the sake of content, I dialed my ex-boyfriend's number. I was sure he'd blocked me ages ago, but the second the call connected, a sleepy rasp floated through the speakers. "Miss me already?" The studio audience exploded. I imploded. All I could do was brace myself and force the words out. "Could you loan me 10 grand? Later, he backed me against a wall. "Take me back," he said. "I've got a lot more where that 10 grand came from, and it's all yours." Before we go any further, smash that subscribe button and tell us in the comments where you're tuning in from. 1. 3 years after my career flatlined, my agent strong-armed me into a reality variety gig. Because every beat was scripted, the taping ran like clockwork, until the host decided we needed a spontaneous stunt. The new rule: each guest had to call the very first contact in their personal phone and beg for $10,000. No mention that we were on camera. It wasn't in the rundown, so at first I didn't panic. Then I saw my phone being passed to the top of the glass table and my vision tunneled. I was toast. I suddenly remembered that the first entry in my contacts was still Adrian. I'd never deleted his number after the breakup. I shot my agent a silent SOS. She beamed back a thumbs up, completely misreading me. I died 1,000 deaths. The guest before me nailed the dare in front of the green screen set, so the crew pivoted the lens toward me. My screen was mirrored live on the 30-foot LED wall. They blurred out the digits but left the contact label crystal clear. With 24 eyes on me, there was no room to improvise. I swiped open the call log and hit dial. At least I hadn't listed him under Adrian, but under our old pet name, Mouse Who Loves Hoflakes. If he let it roll to voicemail, I'd stay anonymous. Please, God, let him have changed numbers. Maybe the gods were busy. The call connected, and he answered. My lungs forgot how to function. "Yeah?" Adrian's sandpaper voice filled the soundstage. My brain blue-screened. The host mouthed to camera too, "It's a guy." Like the scandal fairy had just delivered Christmas early. "Jasmine?" Adrian sounded as if I'd woken him. The rasp scraped straight across my ribs. I held my breath, petrified. "Speak." Impatience flared, then eased. "What do you want?" Still mute, I looked offstage at my agent. She threw up both hands. "You didn't delete him?" When I said nothing, Adrian took the wheel. "Trying to get back together?" A collective gasp ricocheted through the bleachers. Every viewer leaned in like meerkats. Afraid he'd keep digging, I blurted, could you lend me $10,000? 3 seconds of stunned silence. "You dial me for cash?" Disbelief iced every syllable. I stared at the ceiling grid, ready to cry. "Promise I'll pay you back instantly." "I'm actually..." Click. He hung up without ceremony. The room froze in polite horror. My eyes stung. Humiliation crawled over me like ants. Couldn't blame him. When we ended, I'd chosen the most nuclear option possible. That he'd picked up at all was already merciful. The host pivoted to lighter banter while the crew cued the next victim. I ducked my head to kill the on-screen mirror, just as a push notification banner slid across the display. Rowan, August 7, 2022 wired $1 million to your account ending in 0215. Muscle memory betrayed me. I tapped the alert. $1 million glared back at us in 4K. The audience detonated. Even the host lost her professionalism. "That Adrian? I denied everything 3 times in rapid fire. His fanbase could bury me. Admitting we'd dated would finish my career. The showrunner must have screamed into my agent's earpiece, because the host quickly tossed to commercial. By rap I could barely stand. Evelyn threw her blazer over my head and rushed me out the service corridor. In the back seat I was still rebooting when she barked at the driver to move. Then came the 5-minute lecture. "Explain to me how you keep your ex in your favorites?" When she paused for oxygen, I whimpered, "Am I finally, officially over?" She jabbed a manicured finger between my brows. "I must have murdered villages in a past life to deserve you." She spent the rest of the ride speed dialing the PR team, ordering damage suppression protocols. We had every contingency loaded, didn't matter. Before we reached my condo, my name had clawed its way to the top of Twitter. #HasBeBeenJasmine, Adrian. #hot, Adrian Jasmine. #boil, did Adrian this nobody? My notifications mutated into a sewer. Thousands of his fans flooded my mentions, calling me a leech in languages I didn't speak. After a while I stopped scrolling. Evelyn pried the phone away and tried the usual pep talk. I smiled, eerily calm. "Hand it back. I'm returning the money." Compared to the original fallout, online heckling felt like a spa day. I sent the wire the second she relinquished the device. Then I deleted and blocked Adrian for good. Evelyn was right, exes should stay dead. I should have buried that contact years ago. 2. I shut the phone down and hibernated for 48 hours. When I finally surfaced, she was already standing over the bed holding a stack of scripts thick enough to stun an intruder. Up. I booked you a job. I blinked like a mole. What kind? She hesitated. Ellis. Period drama. You're supporting female 3, but you share scenes with the male lead. Could be the last raft off the island, so prep hard. The words echoed, last raft off the island. I'll take it. My voice jumped an octave, startling us both. I'll take it, I repeated, sober this time. I remembered the late-night packed Adrian and I made back when we both had nothing, separate ladders, same roof. He'd already summit, least I could do was climb, and maybe, just maybe, pay back the agent who refused to quit on me. 3. Evelyn pretended not to tear up at my newfound work ethic. I stayed up all night devouring the pilot, then cornered her at dawn. Get me a riding coach. My character practically lives on horseback. Most actors fake it with stunt doubles or hobby horse props. When I asked about stunt casting, the producer admitted they'd planned exactly that. If I was resurrecting my resume, I'd do it right, starting with actual horseflesh. She enrolled me at an elite equestrian club, paying out of pocket for a gold medal trainer. I swore lifelong allegiance on the spot. 4. Lesson 1. I arrived early, suited up, and strutted onto the sand arena behind the coach, until my heart dropped through my boots. Adrian was already there, galloping figure eights like he'd been born in a saddle. I tried to shrink behind my helmet. I also tried to listen to the safety lecture, but my brain was white noise. Upshot, I mounted, scrambled, startled the mare, and nearly launched into next week. The trainer calmed the animal while my legs vibrated like tuning forks. She ordered me off to collect myself. I shuffled toward the lounge on jelly knees. Footsteps clipped behind me. Adrian. Boots, breeches, crop tucked under one arm, posture so straight it could cut glass. First face-to-face in 3 years and I blue-screened again. He studied me for a long beat, then smirked. Jasmine, he drawled, you poke the bear and then block me? Growing up backwards, are we? I almost folded. Before I could form a sentence he brushed past. Better toughen up, tabs open on every debt you owe me 5. After that I arranged my schedule so we never shared the arena. Worked, until the morning of the table read. I was in full hair-on makeup when the call sheet hit my hand. Evelyn, I quit, I whispered. She flicked her gaze over the contract signature. Too late. You're inked. Panic clawed my throat. You know why I can't orbit him again. I know exactly why, she cut in. Which is why I booked you. Hollywood is a parking lot now. Adrian's sunshine is unavoidable. Better face him under lights than hide forever. You're broken up, what exactly are you terrified of? I had answers she'd never heard. Eventually I exhaled. Message received. She was right, I'd always known it. I just hadn't forgiven myself enough to act on it. My stomach churned the whole ride to set, but the instant I stepped out I spotted Adrian in the crowd. He was already in costume, flowing white robes, hair and makeup done, expression cool and distant, listening to Cameron block the scene. Adrian's face is all sharp angles and classic bone structure, and he keeps himself fight scene lean. Quinn, broad-clothed, ripped unclothed, the perfect build for an Ellis. He looked like a poem come to life, *a jade nobleman no rival can outshine star. When he sensed my stare he turned. We held each other's gaze for several seconds before I finally blinked and looked away. We didn't speak through the blessing ceremony or when shooting began, because I was scheduled with Team A and he was with Team B. My long hiatus had rested me. Even though I knew every line by heart, I couldn't find the emotion. Cameron's patience wore thin fast, and I took more tongue lashings than I could count. Luckily my scenes were light that first day. As soon as we wrapped I retreated to my room at the Onset Hotel and spread the script across the bed. Evelyn was pleasantly shocked to see me attacking the pages. After a few words of encouragement she dashed off to handle someone else's crisis, leaving me alone. Work had dried up for so long that I'd let my assistant go. 2 years ago Evelyn reassigned her to a younger client. I was between helpers now and, honestly, used to doing everything myself. After a room service dinner I ran lines solo, a sheet mask chilling my face. Around 11, a knock rattled my door. I had the script in one hand, my face still plastered. When I peered through the peephole the mask nearly slid off in fright. It was Adrian. I yanked the mask away, heart rabbit kicking. For a moment I stood there flustered, then reason reasserted itself. Fine, if I keep quiet and don't open, there's nothing he can do. I drew several slow breaths to steady my pulse. He knocked again, harder. The longer the silence stretched, the calmer I felt. Good, lose patience and leave. Through the tiny lens I watched him pull out his phone. My ringtone exploded in the quiet room. I lunged for it and declined the call. No contact label, just an unknown number. I declined the next attempt, fumbled the switch to silent. A text popped up. Stop playing dead. Open the door. Asterisk, this number is his? He changed it, asterisk. Before I could process, the knocking resumed, brutal enough to wake half the corridor. This hotel was crammed with cast and crew. The last thing I needed was fresh gossip about Adrian and me. I cracked the door a cautious inch. My room sat at a corner, no one could see us. A small relief. What do you want? I whispered. He had obviously just showered, ink-black hair still damp, and leaned in until we were eye level. You sure you want to talk out here? I pressed my lips together, then stepped aside. His first words once in, heard you hit 40+ NGs and Cameron chewed you out. So 3 years after our breakup he'd come all this way just to mock me? I swallowed the flare of temper. Yes. Happy? Great, now get out. He ignored me, scanning the room until his gaze landed on the script I'd tossed onto the bed. He flipped it open. Where are you stuck emotionally? He asked, skimming pages. What are you doing? I snapped. Running lines. What does it look like? He glanced up, no trace of resentment on his face, but I don't trust him. I know what I did back then. If our positions were reversed, I'd either cut him dead or take revenge. Add his vow at the polo club, asterisk old scores and new settled together asterisk, and his sudden kindness feels suspect. I snatched the script away and slapped it onto the nightstand, then pointed at the door. Out. I don't need your help. I can drill it myself. While I bristled, he stayed unruffled. Jasmine, you've been ice cold for 3 years. This project is your last shot. You think if you freeze again tomorrow Cameron won't recast? His tone was level, but tears scalded my eyes on the spot. He was right, that was exactly why I was torturing myself. Enough. Crying doesn't work on me anymore. Without looking at me, he reclaimed the script. Wipe your face. And don't imagine I'm scheming. If I really wanted to kick you while you're down, you'd never have made it to the ceremony this afternoon. He lifted his gaze, a cold smile hooking his mouth. You're too fragile right now. Revenge would be tasteless. I wiped my cheeks hard, found the page I kept tripping over, and shoved it at him. Here. This beat. Fine, I've got nothing left to lose. Free labor is free labor. Say what you will, the man can act. He stacked up trophies these past 2 years and carved out real clout in the industry. With him feeding me and subtext, the next day was smooth, most takes one and done, and Cameron even praised me. That evening Adrian showed up again, script in hand. Your role's only third billing, but she's career-driven and audiences are craving that arc right now. Nail it and you'll buzz. Your agent has good instincts. I know. I nodded. Evelyn never gave up on me even when I hit rock bottom. For her, I had to climb. After that he came every night, unless he had late shoots. By now I was fully inside the character. The drills were probably unnecessary. He never said it, and neither did I. I selfishly clung to the small warmth. Filming barreled along until we reached our shared sequences. The Ellis follows a noble heir who returns from wandering to find his clan massacred overnight. To unearth the truth he uses the second female lead and allies with the third, me, before ending in the heroine's arms. I play the younger sister of that second lead. My concubine mother was framed and tortured to death by her mother. I want justice. Our characters match minds and plot revenge. Thanks to those nightly table reads, our scenes clicked. Cameron beamed after every take, especially the horseback sequence. No stunt doubles needed, every close-up usable. Adrian even mounted one-handed, Sam, earning a cheer from Cameron. Because everything stayed ahead of schedule, Cameron wrapped early one night and declared a team dinner. Half tipsy, he cornered me near the bar. Honestly, I didn't want you at first. I only care about talent, not follower counts, but you've been dark 3 years. Your agent begged for the audition, again and again. He clinked my glass. You didn't let me down. Next show, I'm calling you first. My throat tightened, tears prickled. I sniffed, refilled my glass, and toasted him. Cameron, thank you. To you. By the end, Cameron was carried out cold. I was fuzzy-headed myself. Most of the cast had been shepherded away by reps or assistants. Only Adrian and I remained. Let's go. He picked up my bag. I've got it. I grabbed it back, weaving toward the exit. It was late, no one waited outside, Evelyn hadn't come, and my new assistant wouldn't start until tomorrow. The night air made me dizzier. I crouched by a pillar and thumbed my rideshare app, but the location was remote, no cars. Quit trying. Ride with me. Adrian appeared, one hand in his pocket. My brain lagged, then I nodded. His luxury trailer was spacious. I sagged into the seat, fighting sleep. Pass out if you want, I'll wake you. Adrian reclined, eyes shut. Adrian, when will you take your revenge? Liquor loosened my tongue. To me he was a blade hovering over my comeback. The higher I climbed, the more I dreaded the fall. Cameron's confession about Evelyn's begging replayed in my head and twisted my heart. I didn't want to fail her again. He opened his eyes and sat up. That eager to be punished? His voice was ice. I nodded, then shook my head. Whatever he did to me, I'd consider payment. Just don't drag Evelyn down with me. He leaned close, pinching my cheeks, not hard, then harder. Whatever I want. The pressure hurt. I tried to twist free, but he trapped my wrists. Adrian, that hurts. Tears spilled without permission. His jaw flexed. He let go. Don't cry at me, Jasmine. That trick expired. He leaned back. I wiped my face and mustered a plea. When you do get your revenge, aim only at me. Leave Evelyn out. So noble all of a sudden. He laughed, angry. His fingers snapped my chin up again. Why didn't you think of me when I begged you? You abused the fact that I loved you, didn't you? I had no answer. Tears kept falling. Back then, to force Adrian to break up with me, I said the cruelest things imaginable and did the cruelest things imaginable. So everything happening today, I've got no one to blame but myself. Besides, the cruelest blow from him hasn't even landed yet. I already told you, I don't fall for the tears. Stop crying. Adrian roughly wiped the wetness from the corner of my eye, irritation flaring. I wanted to stop, but I couldn't. The alcohol was ricocheting through my skull, and the harder I tried, the harder I sobbed. I hadn't wanted the breakup either. It felt like slicing flesh from bone, but we had to split. If we didn't, I'd only drag him down. Adrian's eyes were glassy. His voice cracked. Jasmine, shouldn't I be the one crying here? 6. My next scene wasn't until the afternoon, though my head still throbbed. My new assistant, Serena, sweetly brewed me a cup of hangover tea. After makeup, she and I headed to set. When I arrived, the crew was on break. Someone was handing out afternoon coffee. The instant I stepped from the van, a cup was offered to me. Hi, I'm Bianca, Adrian's fiancée. Thanks for keeping my Adrian out of trouble lately. A girl in Chanel's latest haute couture dress smiled as she pushed the paper cup into my hand. Not far away, Adrian stood cradling his own coffee, watching us with cool, unreadable eyes. My mind blanked. I hesitated, then willed my fingers to close around the cup. That afternoon I couldn't hit my mark. Before the director lost his temper, I escaped to the restroom, splashed water on my face, and found the character again. The rest of the shoot went smoothly. After wrap, I was heading for the crew hotel when someone called after me. Jordan, do you have a minute? Mind chatting? Bianca slid open the door of her SUV, still smiling. I stared at that gentle smile and, after a beat, nodded. Cafe. She'd rented the whole place, even my assistant wasn't allowed in. The coffee arrived. Bianca lifted her cup with unhurried grace, every gesture polished. She didn't speak, so neither did I. Finally she gave a mild smile. Jordan, let's not play games. Her eyes glinted. Stay away from Adrian. Or I can't promise the package I mailed your parents stays private. She leaned back, flicking a strand of hair behind her shoulder. I might accidentally CC every tabloid newsroom. I hear your dad's heart surgery went well. Wonder if it could survive another shock. You dare? I shot up, ice flooding my veins, vision flashing red. So the nightmare 3 years ago had been her handiwork. Why wouldn't I dare? She sneered. Jasmine, people like me crush ants like you without even noticing. My nails dug crescents into my palms while I choked down the urge to drag her with me straight to hell. She was right, she had money, connections, minions. I had nothing, no pedigree, no fortune. What could I possibly do to her? Desolation hollowed me out. I sank back into the chair. Helpless humiliation spread through every cell. Voice flat, I asked, "What do you want?" 3 years ago she demanded Adrian and I split. In return she claimed she'd destroy every file. I'd believed her, just another of her jokes at my expense. Same as 3 years ago, keep your distance. Her stare was arctic. Jasmine, I've always gotten what I want. If I can't, I burn it. The smile snapped back into place. But don't worry, stay away, and those photos stay buried. Disobey, and your parents pay. We live under the rule of law, I rasped. Then sue me, if you have proof. She tilted her head, saccharine. Do you? I didn't, and I couldn't gamble. Finally I dropped my gaze. Alex, I wrap in 3 days. After that I'll disappear. Leave my family alone. Lovely. Bianca's smile widened. 7. She swept out and climbed straight into her SUV, merging into traffic. I watched the taillights vanish, the world spun black, and I crumpled. I woke in St. Joseph's. My agent and assistant flanked the bed. What happened? You just collapsed, Evelyn exhaled when she saw my eyes open. Serena looked wrecked, her own eyes swollen from crying. I pushed myself upright. Serena, give us a minute. Once the door shut, I broke, sobbing into Evelyn's shoulder. She asked nothing, only held me. When the storm passed, she spoke. Serena filled me in. This is about Adrian, isn't it? Years in the industry had tuned her antennae, she'd pieced most of it together. 3 years ago someone almost raped me and filmed it. The footage was mailed to Dad, his heart attack, the surgery, that's why. I hugged my knees, the memory still acid. It was one of Adrian's admirers. Tonight she confessed, Bianca. I looked up. She still has copies. If I fight, my parents, Adrian, even you, she'll bury us all. Evelyn swore, at Bianca, at the universe. I'm going to Adrian, she snapped. No. I clutched her arm. Please. He clawed his way up from nothing, she can ruin him in a headline. Evelyn's eyes were bloodshot with fury, but she understood. She asked what I planned. I told her. Apologized for being damaged merchandise. She said we'd talk after rap. I'd earned a long rest back home. That night she took me to her condo. The next days I dodged Adrian, quit the crew hotel, let Evelyn chauffeur me. At last came my final day, the climax before the finale. We'd already shot Adrian's turn to the dark side, the second female lead marrying into the enemy household, his family's redemption, the executions and exiles. My character had avenged her mother and seized control of the clan. Today Jasmine and Adrian stood atop the city wall watching the womenfolk march into exile. Adrian's line, "Lucky we're allies." A woman ruthless enough to slaughter father and brothers, against her, I'd lose. I answered with a cold smile, hands clasped behind me. When Cameron called cut, my work was done. He wanted a little rap party. I tried to beg off, but Evelyn reminded me careers need allies. At dinner Cameron lectured me with fond, drunken candor. We clinked glasses until the room blurred. Adrian sat silent in the corner, accepting every toast. Afterward, the director was poured into a car. I said goodbyes and waited on the curb for Evelyn, running late. Chase, our male second lead, wandered over. Polite small talk, stay in touch, blah blah. Then, blushing, he asked if he could consult me about acting. He worshipped my early indie roles. I smiled. Anytime. He reminded me of college year Adrian, mentoring felt good. He was opening his mouth again when an arm banded my waist. Adrian, face like thunder, stared at Chase. She learned from me. Ask me instead. I was too booze slow, but Chase caught the territorial warning, squeaked an apology, and bolted. I yanked free and staggered back, wall at my spine. Where's your assistant? Adrian demanded. I answered with silence. He stepped closer, caging me against brick. I shoved, he didn't budge, I bit. He hissed, pinning my jaw. Jasmine, what the hell? Tears blurred my glare. Once he'd teased I was made of water. I swiped my cheeks. You have a fiancé, stop jerking me around. I shoved hard and ran. 2 steps, he hoisted me over a shoulder, even swatting my butt. Mortification flared, I kicked, he clamped my legs and marched on. My stomach folded over his collarbone, nausea surged. I stopped struggling. Inside his luxury trailer he set me down. I sprinted for the bathroom and vomited every last drop of alcohol. Adrian stood behind me, one hand steadying my waist while I threw up. Once the heaving eased, he poured me a glass of water. I rinsed my mouth, and the moment my head cleared I lunged for the door. I hadn't taken 2 steps before he caught me again. "Let go of me, Adrian," I thrashed, but his arms were iron bands I couldn't break. His assistant was still watching, and in my fury I lost all filter. "Adrian, are you even a man? What the hell are you doing torturing me like this?" He gave a short, mocking laugh, scooped me straight off the ground, and hauled me back into his luxury trailer, pinning me to the bed, breathing hard. "You're not sure I'm a man?" My mind was mush, instinct told me to bite. He trapped my chin between his fingers and scowled. "Biting again, where did you pick up that nasty habit?" Tension crackled between us until a timid knock sounded. Adrian, there are paparazzi outside. I think they got shots." The word snapped me into another struggle, but Adrian shoved me gently back onto the mattress. "Let them out," he barked at the assistant, uncharacteristically harsh. Usually he was polite to the crew. The assistant stepped down, glanced at the reporters still craning their necks, and sighed. Whatever, he probably thought. The sterling heir doesn't need this industry's money. If a dating scandal costs him, he can pay the penalties out of pocket. Better to go home, sleep, and draft a crisis statement tomorrow. The door clicked shut, leaving Adrian and me alone in the dim trailer, our bodies tangled in a way that made my heart race. Adrian drew several slow breaths, steadying himself. "Let's talk like adults. Stop trying to bolt." I glared. Does an adult conversation start with being pinned to a bed? My anger dissolved into desperation. "Adrian, let me leave now. Tell your PR team to spin this, I'll have Evelyn do the same. The story can't break. I'd promised Bianca I'd stay away from him. If tonight leaked, the fallout would crush me." "Why shouldn't it leak?" he demanded. "Our history has been tabloid fodder before. Thanks to you, fans mail me crates of Hawthorne candy every week. How could I explain the real reason?" I swallowed the tears pushing at my throat and tried logic instead. "You're engaged. Even if nothing happened, she'll assume it did. She'll be hurt, you'll fight." "She is not my fiancé," he cut in. "Our families are friendly, that's it. I never denied the rumors because I wanted to see how you'd react." He met my eyes, every word etched with self-mockery. "Jasmine, you're brutal." The tears spilled. I knew how brutal I'd been. 3 years ago he waited all night under my building, only to hear me spit cruel goodbyes. He collapsed in the rain, hospitalized. I didn't visit, just fled to my hometown and cut every thread between us. "I've told you, don't cry. You know I can't stand it," he said, calloused thumbs wiping my cheeks. "Before I answered your call, I vowed to roast you, to hang up, to fling every word you hurled at me back in your face." It rang 5 seconds, and I surrendered like a lapdog. "When you asked for money, I ran through every catastrophe that might have driven you to it, then rushed to wire every cent." He buried his face in my neck, a hot tear slid into my ear. "Jasmine, I'm wrecked for life. Fine, I give up. I'm yours. I'm sorry." I broke, arms locking around his neck as I sobbed. For 3 years I'd woken from nightmares of him pleading at my gate, "Tell me what I did wrong, I'll fix it, just don't leave." Pride incarnate, yet he always bowed first to me. I loved Adrian, but never as fiercely as he loved me. "Don't cry. It guts me." He lifted his head, his eyes were bloodshot, still wet. I wanted to confess everything, but cowardice glued my lips. Another knock, Evelyn's voice. "Jasmine, are you in there?" "I'm here." Unprepared, Adrian let me shove him aside. I yanked the door open, my agent stood framed in the night. "Adrian, your man says photographers caught you too." "I know," he answered, straightening his shirt. "I'll go public with Jasmine." Panic lanced through me. I caught Evelyn's hand. She scanned the lot, then patted my arm. "Let's talk inside." Once we were seated, she went straight for the jugular. "Your so-called fiancé threatened Jasmine." I gaped. Evelyn squeezed my fingers. "Only he can clean this up." She turned to Adrian. Right, Taylor? He didn't flinch at the nickname. Eyes locked on me, voice tight. He asked, "Did she hurt you?" Hurt? Where would I even begin? I bit my lip, mute. 3 years ago she hired thugs to assault Jasmine, filmed it, mailed the footage to Mr. Vance. He almost died of the shock, Evelyn continued, ignoring my silent plea. Bianca used that tape to force Jasmine to leave you. Last week she waved it again. Stay away or Dad sees the videos, the press sees the videos, and your parents pay the price. My agent stared bored into Adrian, bitter amusement curling her mouth. Dylan, Jasmine thought you were a regular guy. She protected you from the ugly truth, terrified you'd do something reckless. Yes, you've suffered. What about her? Your psycho fan club nearly destroyed her. Ironic, isn't it? When she finished, Adrian's face was paper white. Handle it, now, Evelyn ordered. Because when your fiancé spirals, Jasmine is the one who bleeds. She ushered me out. Adrian didn't try to stop us. Back at her apartment she ordered a bath and warm milk. I cupped the mug, eyes on the steam. Evelyn, who exactly is Adrian? She exhaled slowly. You've heard of Casey? He's the sole heir. Casey, the media empire whose name graces half of Hollywood. She rubbed my shoulder. I only learned tonight. Don't worry, Bianca's finished. He'll bury her. Sleep was impossible in a strange bed. I rose before dawn, left a note, and caught a cab home. Someone sat hunched outside my gate, Adrian. At the sound of my heels he jerked his head up, life flooding his hollow eyes. He scrambled to his feet, awkward, as though my porch was foreign territory. Exhausted, I unlocked the door. Can I come in? He asked, voice low. I hesitated, then nodded. I dropped my keys and headed straight to bed. The familiar ceiling sent me plummeting into unconsciousness. When I woke, dusk was pressing at the curtains. Adrian lay beside me, not touching except for his large hand gripping mine. My slightest movement jerked him awake. Do you want to get up? He asked, cautious. I pushed myself upright, heart swelling with a bruised ache. Is it over? Done. Evidence destroyed, she's in custody, lawyers engaged, she'll serve years. He studied me like I might shatter. I opened my arms, voice cracking. Hold me. Surprise flashed across his face, then his eyes reddened. He gathered me so tightly I felt ribs groan. Sorry. He whispered in a flood, trying to fuse us into one person. I cried, really cried, until every caged sorrow from those years drained away. 8. Bianca received 10 years, her family's company cratered under Adrian's scorched earth reprisal and quietly vanished. On Wrap Day, Casey's official Twitter posted, "Meet our little Noelle. Under his guidance Casey will scale new heights." Adrian quoted the tweet and tagged me, "Future Mrs. Sterling?" Twitter combusted, but this time I wasn't afraid. Adrian released a long post recounting our decade-long love story. Comments overflowed with blessings. Reunited, I stopped hiding. Evelyn booked me into talk shows, commercials, dramas, whatever paid and kept cameras rolling. Cameron kept his promise. I led his next series. I squeezed every minute, sleep became optional, and I blazed hotter than ever. Evelyn rocketed to top-tier status and, bankrolled by Adrian, opened her own agency. On my birthday, I wrapped an overnight shoot, dragged myself to the Onset Hotel, and opened the door onto an ocean of red roses. Floor, bed, every surface strewn with petals and flickering candles. I froze. The door clicked shut behind me. Adrian stepped from the shadows and folded me into his arms. Happy birthday, Jasmine. May every one of yours include me. Eventually I whispered, these must have cost a fortune. He snorted, tapped my forehead, then dropped to one knee, ring box balanced on his palm. Jamie, will you have me? My money becomes your money, and your money stays your money. I stared at the man I'd loved since freshman year, 9 years to the day. Our love, tempered by the years, had never faded, it had only grown fiercer, more scorching. I curved my eyes into crescents and stretched out my hand. You're mine, too. Adrian's rims were faintly red. He slid the engagement ring onto my finger with solemn care and pressed a reverent kiss to it. Always. Meeting each other's parents for the first time felt a little surreal. The instant Adrian's mother saw me, she seized my hands, tears glistening, murmuring Avery over and over. I stood there, blank. Adrian slipped an arm around me, casual and proprietary. I refused to come home and take over the family business, and I never brought a girlfriend around, so Mom assumed I'd locked up my heart and only liked men. I couldn't hold back a snort of laughter. The rest of the visit went smoothly. Adrian had clearly briefed his parents in advance, and every topic they brought up put me at ease. Before we left, his mother produced a large shopping bag from beneath the table and pressed it into my hands, beaming. Just a few trinkets, an auntie's welcome gift. In front of the elders I didn't dare peek inside, and since Adrian carried it for me I could only thank them sweetly and say goodbye. Back home, after my shower, I finally opened the bag and froze. It was stuffed with jewelry boxes, nearly 20 of them, jade bangles, pearl necklaces, diamond rings, every kind of gemstone, total value easily north of $100 million. On top of the boxes sat a bank card with a sticky note. The pin was my birthday. I stared at the plain paper shopping bag and felt lightheaded. Adrian came looking when I didn't return to the bedroom. I lifted my head, shock still splashed across my face. "Do you have any idea what your mother just gave me?" "Jewelry. The whole bag is jewelry. Plus a bank card." Most women love jewelry, and I'm no exception, but right then I felt only panic. Accepting this much the very first time we met looked awful. Who knew how much money was loaded on that card? How could I possibly take it? Adrian shrugged it off. "If you don't like those pieces, I'll take you shopping tomorrow for others." He crouched, scooped me up, and carried me back to the bedroom. Still dazed, I locked my arms around his neck. "Honey, that's jewelry, not cabbage." He set me on the bed and leaned over me. "I know, but I like it better when you call me Big Brother." "Me?" Adrian came home with me for New Year's. He'd been eager to meet my parents for months, but I'd been swamped, running to endorsements, events, shooting nonstop. Most of our rendezvous hinged on him bending his schedule, flying in to see me. A couple of times he only stayed an hour before dashing off again. Freshly in charge of a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, he had even less free time, yet he squeezed every spare minute just to accommodate me. I'd briefed my parents about him beforehand, but meeting face-to-face still carried a hint of awkwardness. We sat stiffly on the sofa. The moment my folks stepped away, one to pour tea, one to slice fruit, Adrian whispered into my ear, "Pity Uncle can't drink." Otherwise I could have bonded with him over shots and promoted him to brother status. I rolled my eyes, stifling a laugh. "I call you husband and you're aiming to become my uncle?" He looked at me with blazing eyes, fighting the grin that kept tugging at his lips. "What did you just call me?" "I didn't catch it, say it again." I turned my face away, cheeks hurting from smiling. "Didn't hear? Too bad, sweet words don't repeat. Pretty please, say it one more time." Just as Adrian begged, my dad cleared his throat. Adrian snapped back to his dignified puppy mode and rose, Morgan, accepting the teacup from my dad with both hands. "Riley, me, Oscar-winning actor indeed," switching expressions in a blink. On the second day of the holiday, the drama Adrian and I had filmed together premiered. It was my first project in 3 years, so Mom rallied a horde of relatives and her square dance squad to watch at home. Luckily our living room was huge, yet we still filled every seat. At 6'2", Adrian towered above the crowd, good-looking, impeccably dressed and articulate. He instantly became the favorite of every aunt, compliments flowing non-stop, crowning my mother as blessed, such a beautiful daughter turned movie star and now a dazzling son-in-law. With praise came envy. My second aunt, crunching sunflower seeds, remarked sourly, "Kids these days title themselves directors after one small promotion. Jasmine, make sure you're not being conned." My eldest aunt kicked her under the table, warning her not to sour the festivities. Grandpa and Grandma had passed early. It had been eldest aunt who single-handedly raised the siblings, Ingrid, so her words carried authority. Second aunt stopped nagging and only humphed, turning her face away. "Come, snacks, snacks. Little Adrian, try these, a local specialty." Jasmine used to throw a fit if I didn't buy it for her, tears on demand, so dramatic. Eldest aunt slid the platter toward Adrian, steering the conversation. Adrian didn't bristle. He smiled sweetly, grabbed a handful of snacks and settled beside me, then loudly whispered, "Turns out you've always been a crybaby." Everyone burst out laughing, and the awkward haze lifted. When the episode started, all eyes spun to Adrian. Several aunts quietly asked my mom, "Juan, your son-in-law's a big star, too?" Mom beamed but feigned modesty. "Kids like what they like, we parents support them." Adrian and I exchanged a smile. During the commercial break, second aunt's little grandson was scrolling TikTok. Suddenly he shrieked and shoved the phone at her. "Grandma, look. This guy looks exactly like Jasmine's boyfriend. He's super rich, a CEO. My game's his company. Just a second Amp began insisting it was only a resemblance. Adrian leaned over with a grin. That's me, little buddy. DM me your gamer ID. I'll have DevOps send you a VIP Platinum pack. Mira, the boy chirped sweetly. You're welcome. Adrian soaked up the adoration. Watching his smug grin, I loved him so much it hurt. 10. After both parents met, our wedding moved on to the front burner. Adrian's parents flew to my hometown for a formal sit-down with mine to map out the big picture. Once my parents learned the magnitude of Adrian's fortune, they worried I'd be overwhelmed. We were an ordinary family, the Sterling's wealth was stratospheric. Adrian gave them concrete reassurance. He transferred everything he owned into my name and promised never to fence me in. My career, my choice to have children or not, everything would be utterly my call. He would respect and support me unconditionally. That night, curled against him, I asked why he spoiled me rotten. He answered, I had to crawl through fire to win you, supporting your work, letting you decide on kids, that's nothing. You want my life? It's yours. I elbowed him, snorting. Noel, you're turning into a walking cliché. He laughed and pulled me back into his arms. Jasmine, it's so good to have you. The end. Epilogue. After marriage my workload didn't lessen, and my in-laws voiced zero complaints. My mother-in-law totally understood, she even envied me for having a career. We both turned 30, yet no one pressured us about babies. We weren't planning either, whatever happened, happened. Toby came along during one of Adrian's visits to set. 10 months later, a pint-sized Adrian entered the world. We named him Rowan, nicknamed Toby. When little Toby was 2, I guested on a variety show. Our relationship was common knowledge, but the producers still milked curiosity. We had to call a family member without revealing the stunt, coaxing them to say a specific phrase. I picked Adrian. My cue was, are you planning to drop an album? The instant the call connected, before I could speak, a tiny voice saying, Mommy, Toby, ecstatic. Before I could answer, Adrian barked in the background, give me the phone, that's my wife. Then came the pitter-patter of toddler feet, giggling, the indignant wail, and the slam of a door. When silence finally returned, Adrian bragged, Babe, I just wrestled the phone from that little rascal, praise me. The studio crew all silently banged their heads on the desks at the public display of affection. I stifled my giggles and got to work, fishing for Adrian to say the keyword. Across the screen I could feel him turning bashful. He praised my singing to the skies, and with seconds left I practically blurted out the line, but he only grew shyer, whining that all our money was in my purse, everything was up to me. Result, mission failed. That night #CoupleGoalsTrap trended nationwide. At 36 I delivered Lily. We named her Rowanhan. And so Adrian and I had our perfect pair, happy ever after. The end. Thanks for listening to our story. If you enjoyed it, please hit like and share it with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing tales. See you next episode.